Your phone has rewired your brain to hate creativity. You see, I spent years digging through the greatest artist journals, their routines and their obsessions from Beethoven, Da Vinci, Maya Angelou, Nikola Tesla, and more. And I found something that will blow your mind. They were all deeply, almost dangerously protective of their boredom. You see, we live in fascinating times. Never before in human history have we had so much information at our fingertips. Never before have we been so connected to the thoughts and opinions of millions of people around the world. And yet, never before have so many artists been so creatively paralyzed. As I took notes on the greatest creators, I paid attention to their patterns, and I slowly, piece by piece, started to notice little insights about how any artist, musician, dancer, any creator in any domain can overcome the addicting pull of our phones. Each of these insights completely shattered my way of thinking, and even though they were tough realizations to swallow, they were the exact realizations that I needed to put my phone down and start making things again. So today, I want to pass on everything I learned to you because even if one of these realizations shifts your way of thinking the way it did mine, it might just help you break free too. Let's dive in. First, I need to show you the most important realization that changes everything. Your brain has two systems of thinking, and you can only run one at a time. System one craves quick hits and instant gratification and constant novelty and immediate payoff. This is a system that's activated when you're doom scrolling through social media, the one that gets dopamine from likes and comments and endless content consumption. And then there's system two, and this one lives in long, slow processes. It can sit with uncertainty for extended periods of time. This is your creative brain. Creativity means sitting with one piece for hundreds of hours. It means dwelling in uncertainty when everyone around you wants quick answers. It means waiting for insights that may never come. It means staying with questions that don't have easy answers. And here's the brutal truth. Every minute you spend in System 1 makes System 2 weaker. The mental pathways that doom scrolling strengthens, this need for constant stimulation and the inability to tolerate boredom, the expectation for immediate reward, these are the exact pathways that you need to rewire if you want to unlock your creative potential. Michelangelo spent 4 years painting the Sistine Chapel. Beethoven spent 10 years working on his Ninth Symphony. Leonardo da Vinci spent 4 years painting the Mona Lisa and 16 more refining it. Kendrick Lamar spent 5 years creating Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. James Cameron spent 15 years developing the world story and waiting for technology to catch up for the movie Avatar. James Dyson also created over 5,000 prototypes before his vacuum cleaner worked. Look, these creators weren't chasing dopamine hits every 30 seconds, distracted by notifications or constantly refreshing their news feeds. They understood something that we've forgotten. Creativity and distraction cannot coexist in the same mental space. By the way, if you would like all my notes on creativity, tap the link in the description and tell me where to send them. The insights in my notes have literally changed my life, and a few of you have emailed me and said the same thing. So if you want to unlock your creative potential, tap the link in the description and tell me where to send my notes. Okay, now here's a realization I got from digging through my notes that really made me sick to my stomach. Every hour spent in someone else's mind is an hour stolen from your own imagination. Think about it. We know what strangers had for breakfast. We know opinions of people we never met about topics that don't affect our life. We visit 1,000 other minds through our screens every single day. But when was the last time you spent an hour alone with your own thoughts? When your mind is constantly cluttered with other people's thoughts, other people's reactions, other people's fears and outrages and opinions, where is the room for wonder? Where is the space for your own questions to form? The constant stream of information doesn't feed creativity. It starves it by leaving no room for the quiet contemplation where original ideas are born. The moment we feel that first hit of empty space, we fill it. We scroll, we stimulate, we consume. But without solitude, you will forget how to speak the language of your imagination. Einstein often credited his breakthroughs not to time in the labs, but to long solitary walks. Twice a year, Bill Gates goes on a cabin trip alone in what he calls Think Week. No meetings, no tech, just books and notepads. Here's what I learned from studying creative masters. Creativity needs emptiness, not just input. Boredom isn't creativity's enemy, it's creativity's birthplace. But do we really ever get bored anymore? It's like we don't chase the feeling of boredom anymore. We fill it with things. But in doing so, you're starving your art of the very conditions it needs to exist. Now, if there's one realization you take from me today, it's this. I see so many creators fall into this trap that it literally keeps me up at night. Stop confusing trending with timeless. Look, you scroll through content and you see a post with 1 million views and your brain whispers, whoa, like this is important. This is culture happening in real time. But here's a reality check. 1 million views sounds massive until you remember there are 8 billion people on this planet. What feels like mass culture is actually just amplified noise. Real culture isn't trending. It's enduring. It's timeless. The Beatles, Diana Ross, Basquiat, Michael Jackson, they weren't following trends. They were reaching for something that would still move people 50 years later. And the art that moves humanity forward doesn't chase the trending topics of the day. It emerges from deeper currents, older questions, more enduring truths. Artists are meant to be cultural architects, not to be cultural parrots. But when you're constantly consuming today's crisis, today's outrage, today's trend, you start believing the present moment's chaos is what matters most. And I'm warning you, in your attempt to stay connected to everything, you will risk losing the connection to your one source that can produce anything, your imagination. If you stay to the end of this, I plan on sharing a powerful framework based on history's most prolific creators that you can start using today to break free. But first, I need to share a beautiful realization that showed me that doom scrolling was a lack of self-respect, an idea that gave me the will to change. It's this. Your inner world is a sacred garden. Stop letting everyone plant their seeds there. Artists are empaths. You feel deeply. It's your superpower. And doom scrolling exploits this gift. Every time you scroll, you invite hundreds of voices into your head. Many are angry and fearful and fake. And over time, these voices colonize your imagination. Your sacred space, your sacred garden becomes crowded with other people's agendas. Your inner world deserves to be protected. Why do you think so many of the greatest creators love doing odd things, like working unusual hours and having strict routines and rituals and seeking isolation and avoiding social interaction? In the book Creativity, the author spoke about how the traits that make creative people peculiar are typically just ways to protect their focus so that they can lose themselves in the creative process. And in my research, I saw it all the time. Maya Angelou rented hotel rooms just to write in. Nikola Tesla often started work at 3 a.m. because there were fewer demands and interruptions. Steve Jobs famously wore a black turtleneck and jeans every single day to reduce decision fatigue so that his mental energy can be conserved for creative decisions. These creators protected their garden and were willing to look crazy to do so. But unfortunately, I've spoken with countless brilliant artists carrying so many other people's voices that they can't find their own. Constant consumptions transform you from a creator to a container. You become a bucket for other people's ideas, emotions, and traumas instead of a fountain for your own creative expression. All this energy that should flow into something gets trapped inside of you. You're constantly consuming, but you're rarely creating. And this is spiritually suffocating, and it kills the very thing that makes you an artist. When you feel overwhelmed, you should make something, anything. Transform your intake into outflow, convert your consumption into creation. And this isn't just therapeutic advice, it's how you stay an authentic artist in an attention economy designed to fragment your focus. I don't know. When I look at how fast technology has came, I can't help but think that we are not biologically made to carry the weight of the world in our pocket. We weren't designed to process every tragedy, injustice, or crisis happening simultaneously around the world. Your nervous system evolved to handle the troubles of your tribe, your community, your immediate circle, where you could actually make a difference. But now you're trying to carry the emotional weight of 8 billion people's problems, and it's crushing your creative spirit. Here's the truth: the information diet that doomscrolling provides would overwhelm anyone, but is specifically toxic for artists like you. Your sensitivity, your superpower, becomes your weakness when it's constantly bombarded with more input than the human mind can meaningfully process. And so it's okay to not be in the know about everything. The choice isn't between being informed and being ignorant. It's between consuming everything and creating something. The machine wants your attention because your attention is how it survives. But your art needs your attention because your attention is how it comes to life. You cannot serve both. Now, most people will tell you, get off your phone, but they won't tell you how. Today, that will not be me, because now that you have the revelations that changed my mind, I'm going to give you the actions that changed my art. On page 107 of the book, Keep Going, that's all about how to stay creative. Austin says, when your job is to see things other people don't, you have to slow down enough that you can actually look. In an age obsessed with speed, slowing down requires special training. And so I want to share a framework with you that's my special training. It's a solution that you can steal to break free from the trap of the machine. And I know you probably feel inspired right now to put down your phone and go create, and that's beautiful. But sometimes inspiration is fleeting without a solid plan on how to convert your inspiration into dedication. This framework can help you, and I call it the G.A.R.D.E.N framework. So the G.A.R.D.E.N framework is a way that I package all my actionable advice from my notes, reclaiming your inner creative space into a mental model. If you adopt this mental framework, you can rewire your brain and bring your ideas to life. Art, music, dance, whatever your creative domain. I called it the G.A.R.D.E.N framework for two reasons. One, the acronym G.A.R.D.E.N is easy to remember. And two, like I said earlier, your creative mind is a sacred garden. If you don't tend to it intentionally, weeds of distraction and noise and other people's thoughts will take over. So let me break it down for you really quick. G is for gate your inputs. Just like a garden has a fence, you need boundaries. Before you consume anything, just ask yourself, will this feed my creativity or will it just feed the machine? Tim Ferriss has a great example of this. He practices selective ignorance by avoiding news for weeks at a time. He uses a not to-do list that's longer than his to-do list, and he batches information consumption into specific hours of time. My wife does this as well. So what she would do is she deletes her social media for months and then reactivates it for 2 days, then deletes it again after realizing that she didn't miss much. So get your inputs, create mental buckets. One labeled feeds my art and one labeled feeds the machine. And store everything you consume into one of these buckets. These labels will start to make you self-aware of what you are letting into your garden. Next is A. A is for allocate sacred time. Creativity doesn't need 8 hours, just because that can be overwhelming to start. It just needs 1 hour of total presence. So create non-negotiable creative time daily. Toni Morrison, Ben Franklin, Georgia O'Keeffe, and many other creators dedicated their mornings to their craft, while creators like Franz Kafka and Tom Wolfe dedicated their nights. So whatever is best for you, All you need to do is schedule a creative hour as if it were a meeting that you booked with a high profile person, because that high profile person is you. So guard that time like it's a sacred ritual. All right, next up we have R. So R is for retreat into solitude. Silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's the soil where deep ideas grow. Henry David Thoreau spent 2 years alone at Walden Pond and even wrote, "I never found the companion as so companionable as solitude." I also have a secret river that I go to when I need to recalibrate. I go there to speak to myself. And I recommend that you designate at least one solitude session each week. It could be a walk, a journal session, or just sitting in nature alone with your thoughts. And of course, make it phone free. Now for D. D is for dump mental clutter. You can't plant seeds in soil that's packed with yesterday's debris. Before you create, clear your mind. Leonardo da Vinci filled notebooks with random thoughts, observations, and worries, and also used drawing as a way to externalize and organize his mental chaos. So use a 5-minute brain dump. Write down distractions and worries and to-dos. Those are problems for another time. Just close your notebook and begin creating. Next, we have E. E is engage your slow brain. Boredom is a doorway to depth. So train system 2. This is your creative operating system that I talked about earlier. Darwin took a 45-minute walk and made his greatest evolutionary insights during those slow contemplative walks. I suggest that you choose one slow analog activity each day, like reading a book or writing or playing an instrument or sketching. Let your brain breathe. Now the last one is N. N is for nurture your no muscle. Every yes you say to a distraction is a no to your own ideas. So saying no is the ultimate act of self-respect. Warren Buffett uses the 25-5 rule, where he lists 25 goals, circles the top 5, and then avoids the other 20 at all cost. He attributes a lot of his successes to saying no to almost everything. So turn off all your notifications, use site blockers during creative hours, say no to one unnecessary obligation per week, and reclaim that time for making art. By the way, if you would like my garden framework written out, I will share a link to it in the description below. Feel free to also grab my notes on creativity while you're there too, because your creativity is not something you do, it's a garden you grow. And just like any garden, it needs space and boundaries and daily tending. So ask yourself every single day, did I grow my garden today? Or did I scroll through someone else's weeds? Because the world doesn't need more artists following trends. It needs artists brave enough to create them. It needs artists who choose depth over speed and solitude over stimulation and original thought over borrowed opinions. Your creative voice isn't just important, it's irreplaceable. But it'll only emerge if you give it the space to breathe, the time to develop, and the silence to speak. Choose your sacred inner garden. Choose your silence. Choose your art.